Good afternoon. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, ring the little bell notification button next to it and you'll be notified of any new uploads. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the Range Rover yet again. So, I've been asked a few times why or how have I got a right-hand drive car on French number plates? Well, that's easy. We've imported this car from the UK into France. And the reason for doing that, when I was looking at buying this car, this is a 2002 Range Rover TD6. We paid £3,500 for this. Similar models in France are going anywhere between €6,000 to €8,000. You can find slightly cheaper ones, but they looked pretty rough. So it's a bit of a no-brainer really. I thought it's not going to cost that much to import it into France. So I'm going to run through some things that you're going to need. I'll put the links in the description. I'll put it across the screen and I'll put the links in the description below so you can go and have a look. One of the best resources that I found for registering cars in France is a Facebook group run by a bloke called Mark Rimmer. I know him, actually. I've bought a couple of cars off him. He lives about half hour up the road. I'll put a link to their group that you'll find some invaluable information registering cars in France. This was quite straightforward. What you're going to need is, from the UK, if I can open it, is the V5 logbook. And you're going to want that in your name if you can. I'm not resident in the UK anymore. I've been living in France for nearly 10 years, so I was a bit naughty. I registered the vehicle at my sister's address. It's just going to be temporary. If you get straight on with it, it's only going to be registered at that address for a couple of weeks. So, V5 in my name at my sister's address. When you buy the vehicle, you'll get one of these, hopefully, if you're buying it with that focus. That is a current MOT certificate, which lasts for 12 months. Now, you can register a car in France as long as your MOT certificate is less than 6 months old. Once it goes older than 6 months, you've then got to go through the French process. The control technique. Now, to get the control technique, you need a certificate of conformity. We'll get to that in a bit. So we've got the V5 logbook, the current MOT certificate, which should be for a year. Then you're going to want a bill of sale. It can be handwritten, it can be whatever. As long as it's got who it came from, how much you paid for it, dates and whatever. As long as it's got written on it how much you paid for it. You're going to need that bill of sale when you get to France to get your quitus fiscal, which we'll get to in a minute. So we've got the V5, the MOT, bill of sale. Now, on some V5 logbooks, it has a type approval number, and which is type approval is section K, and section D2 has got the variant and the version. This actually has the variant and the version on it, but when I entered it into the website, they wouldn't accept it. So I then had to apply for a certificate of conformity, which is a European certificate of conformity. For this, I think you email Jaguar Land Rover. I'll put the link to their email, or yeah, it was an email, it wasn't a website. Now, there were a few hoops to jump through, not really difficult. but they want to see the V5 logbook, the bill of sale. I had to scan quite a lot of documents to send to them. I also had to take pictures of the car. I had to take a picture of the chassis number stamped into the body, the chassis plate in the windscreen, and the chassis plate under the bonnet. I ought to take a picture of the car showing the steering wheel. There was about 5 or 6 photos that they requested, so I did all that. Once they've checked it all out, they'll say yes, there's a certificate of conformity available. They'll then tell you it's X amount. For this Range Rover it cost me £100. I requested it in English, and this is it here. If I can get it out. European Certificate of Conformity, and they actually sent me 2 copies, one in French and one in English. So that was quite handy. So once you've got your certificate of conformity, there are some third-party websites that will get this for you, but they charge, I think they was going to be charging me £200 or plus £220. I went direct to Land Rover, it was £100, and it came pretty quick. Now if you've bought the car and it's already got MOT on it and the seller doesn't want to put a fresh MOT on it, you're gonna need to get a control technique on it when you get to France, and most CT stations won't even look at the car until you've got the certificate of conformity. So you are going to need it at some point. And when it comes to the CT, they're now accepting headlight stickers to change the beam. This car, it's got the tourist switch, so we can just switch the headlights from right-hand drive to left-hand drive. All it does, where you've got the kick up on the headlights, on the headlight beam, it just levels it out. This has got the xenon headlights in it, so that was all good. But now you can, since May of last year, they changed the rules again, where you can now use stickers to deflect the beam, and that will now pass its CT. A lot of CT stations won't accept that, but if you look on the Facebook group, in the files section, there is a piece you can print off and take to your CT station, which basically says this is the law, and you're supposed to be testing the vehicle to that standard. So that's that. So, you've got your certificate of conformity, logbook, MOT, bill of sale. Once you've got all them bits together, the next step is you want to get your quitter's fiscal, which should look something like that. This you get from your local tax office. Basically, you take all your documents with you. Normally, when you're doing paperwork in France, you take everything from your birth certificate, your marriage certificate, your passport. But I think Tina took it up. She took the V5 logbook, the bill of sale, my passport. I think that was it. And this is just to say that there's no VAT or no VAT to pay on the vehicle that you're importing into France. So they filled that out, didn't cost anything, and there's a big fat zero to pay. So now we've got all the documents that we need. It's just a case now of logging into the government website, because you used to be able to go to the prefecture and do it all over the counter. Now it's all changed. I think they've changed the system to stop unregistered people buying and selling cars, just to make it a bit more difficult. It is a bit of a awkward process, but then again, if you look on the Facebook group, in the file section down one of the sides, it walks you through it step by step. It really is quite easy, and if you can get all your documents together, it'll probably ask for bits of identity, this, that and the other. I'll link to it's ant.gouv.fr or something. I'll link that below. That'll take you to the website. and you have to log into it using France Connect, I believe. But all the information's in the Facebook group, and the step-by-step way of doing it. So you upload all your documents onto the website. You might have to resize the files because it doesn't take a very big file, and they'll send you an email back either asking for more information or telling you that there's a CoC Gris waiting for you, and then they'll send you a request for payment. How much was this, Tina? 270?
Something like that.
Yeah, so we got a request for payment for about 270 euros, which we paid, and they then emailed us a provisional CoC Gris, which has all the vehicle details, the allocated number plate, and everything on there that the French need to know about your car. This is now in their system. So if I want to buy some car parts online, say for example I go onto mrauto.com, if I just type in the registration number, it brings up the car on their website, and it tells them obviously what the car is, what the variant is, what the engine is, so all the parts are listed for your particular car. So it's really quite simple. Print that off. You can go and get your number plates made with this provisional CoC Gris, and then it only took a few days, and then we get the proper CoC Gris, which looks like this. That's basically your French logbook. When you have a CT done, they put a little sticker on the back. Now, although we registered the car with an English MOT, once it's on French plates, it has to have a French control technique to be legal. Now, we did on this one, because the English MOT ran out in December 2018. It says on here that our next visit for a control technique isn't until the end of this year, so that would have been 2 years. But really, you will get some people that say, oh well, I don't need to do my CT because it says so on my CoC Gris. You either export and import. You export your car out of one country and import it into another. You can't export it out of a country and then half-heartedly import it. So you do one or the other. You keep it UK or you make it French. It's as simple as that, really. There's no sort of grey area. That is the law, and you'll find that on the Facebook group, that you'll get people commenting, oh, I don't need to get my CT done because it says on the CoC Gris I don't need it. But if you get stopped by the police and you're still driving around on an English MOT, although it's all done to European standards, the car is now French, it needs a French CT, which is why we've had this one done. A CT lasts for 2 years and it costs, I'm not sure how much it is, a bit more for this, for being a 4x4 I think. But it lasts for 2 years, and if you take it for a CT and it fails, you can still register the vehicle with a failure certificate, because the failure certificate lasts for 2 months. You have 2 months to fix all repairs, unless it's something dangerous, and then they'll say no, it's got to be done. You have 2 months to do the repairs, but in that 2 months you can still get your car registered. So that's that. And then obviously you've got your insurance to worry about. Now, with this car, I insured it in the UK for my sister to drive, me to drive it, and Tina to drive it. It already had the MOT, and I had to put some road tax on it, which you don't have in France. But obviously, my sister was driving it from Lincolnshire all the way down through the UK into France on English plates. So to be legal, I've taxed it for 6 months, and once I'd got all the French paperwork and I'd got my CoC Gris, there's a section on the V5 logbook from the UK. In fact, I think I went online and did it. Went onto the UK government website and declared that I've exported the vehicle. So that was quite straightforward online. Did all that, and then they actually gave us a refund for the road tax, because we'd got it all done within a month, so I still had 5 months road tax. They refunded it and they actually posted the refund to France, so that was quite nice, thank you very much. And that is as easy as it was. Now, I don't know what's going to happen when Brexit hits, if it hits at all. The talk is that any car made before Brexit, you can still import into France because that was been made to European standards. You can bring it into France, no problem. They might even still be making cars to European specs, so you'll be able to import them backwards and forwards, vice versa. I believe that if you import a vehicle newer than 2009, there's another tax that you have to pay, which is the malus tax. I'm not sure if it's a one-off tax or if you have to pay it every year, but that's something that's on the group, on the Facebook group, and you can look into that. And yeah, it is pretty straightforward. So get your cars registered, people. So I hope you liked this video. I hope it was of some informative use. So yeah, if you're looking to import a vehicle into France, it's not as hard, it's not as daunting as it would seem at first. Just get all your paperwork together, and it is plain sailing. There are people that will actually do it for you in France. I don't know how much they charge, but there's some people on the group that actually do the process for you if you can't get onto the Ants website. But I got in because I've been resident in France for nearly 10 years, so I've got all the right tax numbers and I can log into the government website, and just did the process, and it was really pain-free. But there are people that will do it for you for a fee, of course. And yeah, so it's not as daunting as it would at first seem. And give it a go. Hope you like this video. Please click the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and it's bye for now.